Hello, my name is Daniel, and this is InvestEdge Academy. Today, we're diving into a topic that is as old as humanity itself, understanding human nature. But this isn't your typical feel-good exploration of what makes us human. No, today we're peeling back the layers, exposing the raw, unfiltered truth about who we are at our core. Human nature is not a story of light and purity. It's a story of contradictions, of darkness, of instincts we often try to suppress. And yet, it's these very instincts that shape our lives, our relationships, and our societies. This is not a journey for the faint of heart. It's a journey into the depths of what it means to be human, a journey into the parts of ourselves we'd rather not see. But if you're ready to face the truth, then let's begin. The mask we wear. Every single one of us wears a mask. It's the face we show to the world, the version of ourselves we want others to see. But behind that mask lies something far more complex, far more primal. Robert Greene, in The Laws of Human Nature, writes about the concept of the shadow. This shadow is the part of ourselves we deny, the impulses we suppress, the emotions we refuse to acknowledge. It's the envy we feel when someone else succeeds. It's the anger we bury when we're wronged. It's the selfishness we hide behind acts of generosity. But here's the truth. The shadow doesn't disappear just because we ignore it. It festers, it grows, and eventually it finds a way to surface, often in ways we don't expect. Psychologists call this projection. We see in others the very traits we refuse to see in ourselves. The coworker we call arrogant? Perhaps they remind us of our own buried insecurities. The friend we accuse of being selfish. Maybe they reflect the selfishness we refuse to confront in ourselves. And here's the dark irony. The more we deny our shadow, the more power it has over us. It controls us from the inside, influencing our thoughts, our actions, our relationships. The first step to understanding human nature is this. Stop running from your shadow. Acknowledge it. Embrace it. Because only then can you begin to control it. But be warned, this is not an easy process. To confront your shadow is to confront the parts of yourself you hate the most. It's to admit that you are not as good, as kind, as virtuous as you like to believe. And that's a truth most people are not ready to face. The power of emotions. We like to think of ourselves as rational beings, guided by logic and reason. But the truth is, we are far more emotional than we care to admit. Studies in neuroscience have shown that emotions drive nearly every decision we make. Even when we think we're being logical, our emotions are quietly pulling the strings. Fear, desire, anger, love. These are the forces that shape our choices, our actions, our lives. And here's the dark part. Emotions are easily manipulated. Politicians, marketers, even the people closest to us, they all know how to play on our emotions to get what they want. Think about it. How often have you made a decision out of fear? How often have you been swayed by a promise of happiness, only to realize later that it was an illusion? Robert Greene calls this the law of irrationality. He argues that we are all, to some extent, slaves to our emotions. And the more we deny this, the more vulnerable we become to manipulation. But there's another layer to this. Emotions don't just influence our decisions, they shape our identity. The way we see ourselves, the way we see the world, the way we interpret reality. It's all filtered through the lens of our emotions. For example, someone who feels constant anger will see the world as a hostile place. Someone who feels constant fear will see the world as dangerous. And someone who feels constant envy will see the world as unfair. If you want to understand human nature, you must understand the power of emotions. You must learn to recognize when your feelings are clouding your judgment. And you must learn to master your emotions before they master you. The illusion of morality. We like to believe that we are moral creatures, guided by a sense of right and wrong. But morality is not as universal as we think. It's a construct, shaped by culture, by society, by history. What's considered good in one era might be seen as evil in another. What's praised in one culture might be condemned in another. And even within ourselves, our sense of morality is often flexible, bending to suit our needs, our desires, our fears. Robert Greene writes about the law of hypocrisy. He argues that we are all, to some extent, hypocrites. We judge others for the very things we excuse in ourselves. We hold others to standards we ourselves cannot meet. But why? Because it's easier to point the finger outward than to look inward. It's easier to condemn someone else than to confront our own flaws. And here's the uncomfortable truth. Morality is often a mask for power. We use it to justify our actions, to control others, to protect our own interests. Think about it. How often have you seen someone use morality as a weapon? How often have you seen people claim the moral high ground only to act in ways that are anything but moral? If you want to understand human nature, you must confront this hypocrisy. You must question your own morality, and you must accept that, at our core, we are not as virtuous as we like to believe. The need for power. At the heart of human nature lies a deep, insatiable need for power. Power over our circumstances, power over others, power over our own lives. This need for power is not inherently evil. It's what drives us to achieve, to create, to survive. But it's also what drives us to manipulate, to dominate, to destroy. Robert Greene describes power as the ultimate motivator. He argues that every interaction, every relationship, every decision is at its core a negotiation of power. Think about it. In your friendships, in your workplace, even in your family, there's always a subtle, unspoken struggle for control. Who has the upper hand? Who sets the rules? Who gets the final say? And here's the dark truth. The need for power is never satisfied. No matter how much we achieve, no matter how much control we gain, we always want more. Understanding human nature means understanding this dynamic. It means recognizing the power plays happening around you and within you. And it means learning to navigate these dynamics without losing yourself in the process. The fear of death. Finally, we come to the ultimate truth of human nature, the fear of death. Everything we do, everything we strive for, everything we create, it all stems from this fear. The fear of being forgotten, the fear of leaving no mark, the fear of fading into nothingness. This fear drives us to seek meaning, to build legacies, to chase immortality in whatever form we can find it. But it also drives us to cling to illusions, to deny the inevitable, to live in a state of constant distraction. Robert Greene calls this the law of death denial. He argues that much of human behavior can be traced back to our refusal to accept our own mortality. But here's the paradox. The more we deny death, the more it controls us. The more we cling to life, the more we fear losing it. Understanding human nature means confronting this fear. It means accepting the impermanence of life. And it means finding meaning not in what we leave behind, but in how we live in the present. Human nature is not a story of perfection. It's a story of contradictions, of darkness, of struggle. But it's also a story of growth, of resilience, of transformation. By understanding our nature, our shadow, our emotions, our morality, our need for power, our fear of death, we can begin to take control of our lives. We can stop being victims of our instincts and start becoming masters of our destiny. This is the truth about human nature. It's not always pretty, it's not always comforting, but it's real. My name is Daniel, and this is InvestEdge Academy. Thank you for watching.